Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Jason White and this is Jason's Weird Reads, and today is another From the Hip number 21. Today I'm going to be talking about mostly my Cryptid Readathon wrap up. Stick around to see if I stuck to my TBR or not. I think you might be surprised. But first I just want to shoot the shit from the hip a little bit and tell you what's been going on. I missed last week. Lately I've been doing 2 weeks. I've been doing 2 videos per week, and it hasn't been all that hard to keep that up now that I'm working at a different job. But I tend to do my videos in bulk, and I do them on the weekends, and last weekend was too busy with like Christmas stuff and family stuff, and I just didn't get around to do it, and so that's why you didn't get any videos last week. I don't know, I've been fighting something off. I don't know, I was sick a little while ago with like a cold and a cough, and ever since then I've been feeling like this crazy fatigue. I don't know if maybe I had COVID or not. I don't know. I didn't test myself. I probably should have. I'll get over it. Nothing is permanent after all. One thing I want to do is I did get a little bit of book mail, and I want to thank Daniel Braum. He sent this package to me, and I have yet to open it. He has written on there, "Please do not bend." Now, he told me what's in here, so it's not a huge surprise, and he sent this to me before we did the interview, the most recent interview with him on my channel here. I'll try to remember to link it up there. He wanted me to tell you guys that if you go looking for this, you're going to have trouble finding it because it's out of print and it's not easy to find. So let's see what's in here. Oh, I don't want that side showing. And oh, nice. Okay, so it's wrapped. He really did not want anyone to bend this because it's wrapped in cardboard. And there is a Christmas card in here. It's a Krampus Christmas card. And he says on the back, "Thanks for your support this year, and always I hope you enjoy the Yetis. And wishing you an early Black Phillip Friday and a Grus Vom Krampus by Dan." Thanks, Dan. I love these cards when I get them. And I only wish that I could send them. I just never get the cool Christmas cards. Trying to be very careful because I don't want to ruin this at all. It's a very rare book, and it was very kind of Daniel to send this to me from his own private library. It's kind of touching, honestly, and I can't thank him enough, but I wish he used a little bit less tape. It's like opening up a Christmas present here, wrapped by my wife, which, let me tell you, is always a chore. Alright, we're almost there. Almost there. Now we got some bubble wrap. You know, Daniel, you really do, you could really compete with my wife in the Christmas wrapping department. Alright, here we go. It's Blood and Stardust, a short story by Daniel Braum, The Yeti's Hand. So this fits in with the Cryptid Readathon that we had here in November of 2023. This is, Daniel said he was hoping this would get here by the end of the month, and it did, so that's awesome. Oh, it's Lotus Bubble Press. I don't know why I thought Dim Shores. And this is copy number 33. Oh, of 75. Wow, this is really rare. So there is that. I'm almost afraid to read this. It's not only is it a little bit on the old side, I can see why he didn't want it to be bent. It's very, it's thin, but you know what? You can read it without worry of destroying the spine. So that's good. I can't wait to dig into this. And he says it's his Yeti story, or is it? I love Daniel always does that kind of stuff, and it's so exciting. And thank you very much, Daniel, if you're watching this. I can't wait to dig in and read The Yeti's Hand. And like he said, if you see this book and you're like, oh, I gotta get it, you might not be able to find it. It's from 2014, and there's only 75 copies, so you might end up spending a lot of money for it if you do find it. Alright, so in other news, my book club, Jason's Weird Reads book club, is on the Fable app. And to be honest, I'm not too sure if I want to stay there, because a lot of indie published books are not on there, and it's not necessarily their fault. I could see them expanding into that in the future, but right now it's mostly mainstream books. So let me know what you think down there, deep down there in the darkness, if we should stay there. I'm going to stay there for now, but there's a couple of books I wanted to nominate myself, and I couldn't because they're not on there. But the good news is you can request books, and it takes them a couple of weeks, but they will get it on there. I have done that. So there's that. But we did at Jason's Weird Reads. This is something else I want to bring up. I noticed that everyone else who has a book club names their book club something other than their channel. I never thought of doing it that way. Should we call it something else, or should it just be Jason's Weird Reads book club? Let me know down there in the darkness. So we took a vote recently, and we voted on our next book for December. So what we are going to be reading in December is Black Mouth by Ronald Malfi. This will be like my second Ronald Malfi read. Let me read you the synopsis back here in case you want to come and join up. And I'm a little surprised because for the longest time there was like 20 members, which I never thought I'd get past like five or six people. I just didn't think anyone would join up. But now there's like 31 or 32 people, and that's like, wow, what? I don't know if it's because people are seeing what we're doing on the Fable app itself. It's really set up really well, and that's why I don't technically want to leave there. But it's an awesome little app, so maybe that's how people are finding me, or it's all the shorts I've been doing in regards to the Fable app. But yeah, this is what we're reading next month. I'm going to read you the synopsis so you can decide for yourself if you want to come and jump on or not. For nearly 2 decades, Jamie Warren has been running from darkness. He's haunted by a traumatic childhood and the guilt of having disappeared from his disabled brother's life. But then a series of unusual events reunites him with his estranged brother and their childhood friends, and none of them can deny the sense of fate that has seemingly drawn them back together. Nor can they deny the memories of that summer so long ago, the strange magic taught to them by an even stranger man, and a terrible act that has followed them all into adulthood. In the light of new danger, they must confront their past by facing their futures and hunting down a man who may very, very well be a monster. So this sounds really cool. It takes place during the summer, but I'm okay with breaking my little sticking with the seasons, especially since I'm not really, winter just kind of started here in a sense. Like the weather has been very winter, even though it's not technically winter yet. I could definitely return to the warmth of summer, because I think winter is going to kill me in the future, to be honest with you. So if you, getting back on topic here, if you want to come join us reading Blackmouth next month, you're more than welcome to do so. It's going to be a blast. And so far we've been doing really well with the book club. I'm more than happy with how that's been going. So what have I been currently reading lately? That's a good question. I have finished what I'm going to read for the Cryptid Readathon. And so I've started my winter, cold, haunted December reads. And so far I'm reading The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. This book takes place in the south of the United States, and it's in the 1950s, and it involves a young family of black people. I can't get my brain to work. So you have siblings, a brother and a sister. Their mother has died from cancer, and their father is in Chicago because he dared speak up, and he tried to get unions going for colored people in the South, which was a big mistake, because it resulted in somebody accusing him of raping one of the white women there, and so he's basically on the run. But he didn't rape anyone. It's very well known that he didn't do it. But this is being the South in the States in 1950. Yeah, it's something like that's gonna happen. So what happens is the sister and the sister is older than the brother, and she pretty much takes care of him. I'm about halfway through this book, and let me tell you, it's there's parts in this book that gave me feelings of like the girl next door. Now, it doesn't ever hit that intensity ever. It never hits that intensity, but you keep thinking it's going to go there. Thank God it doesn't. But okay, let me get back to what goes on. The sister's being hit on by this white kid who's from the richest family in the area and where they live. And the brother steps in and says, hey, leave her alone. The white kid pushes the black kid, and the black kid kicks him in retaliation. And the father of the white kid sees this happen, and so the black kid, Robert is his name, he gets sent to the Reformatory. Now, it's a school for boys. I say school for boys, but what it really is, it's a work farm. They do get schooling, but they also have to work in the fields. They work in the fields much more than they are schooled, and it's very much, even though it's 1950 America, it's very much a return to slavery. The kids are being used as slaves, and they are beaten horribly, and they are often killed without a second glance. So this kid is sent to not only a work farm, but he's also sent to a torture place, because they have, at the Reformatory, they have this the separate little house, or at least a cabin, that's known as the fun house. And you should go listen to Tananarive Due discuss this book. It took her 7 years to write it, and I can see why now. Chapters 11, no, I think it's 12 and 13, I'm not too sure, but around that area is when it starts getting really intense, when we go into the funhouse and see what happens there. The funny thing is that this book also kind of reminds me a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in that you're never actually shown the actual torture or painful things. You're not seeing the chainsaw dig into someone in that movie, but you're left with the impression of it. What Tananarive Due does brilliantly in this book, she builds a lot of tension in, so when he gets to the room, you don't need to see the strap hit the flesh and break it. You're already tense enough, and she doesn't actually go there, which is like, thank God, because the tension, like, I almost had tears in my eyes seeing Robert have to go through this, seeing how scared he was, and seeing how scared all the other little boys who were there. He's only like 12 years old, and he's about to be beaten worse than any man could possibly endure, and he's just supposed to accept it and buck up. It's fucking sick. And for that reason, I think this book is very important, and it probably should be read widely. I mean, very widely. I'm disappointed that this book so far doesn't have the support to be found in Walmart and Costco, because I think everybody should read this book. It's very important because it not only shows America and Canada, because Canada had its own version of the Reformatory, and it tried to kill off all the indigenous people. We're talking about schoolhouses where hundreds of bodies have been found, bodies of children who were raped and killed and buried and just basically disappeared at the hands of the Catholic Church and the government. So books like these are very important because it shows where we come from. It also shows where we could go again, especially if we let certain political parties win. But I'm not going to go too much more into that because I don't want to get all political. Just going to say that this book is very important, and I think this is a high contender so far for the #1 read of this year, and that's saying something because I had a blast reading this year. This book isn't necessarily a blast to read, but it is still knocking my socks off, and I absolutely love it. I think it's a masterpiece. Oh, all right. Next up, I'm also reading Six Rooms by Gemma Amor. This book is a little bit lighter. I mean, a lot lighter. In fact, this book has some funny stuff going on in it, which I didn't expect. It's got the tour guide from hell And that's what I love about it. This tour guide, he really wants you to stick to the rules, and if you don't, he gets angry, like very angry. And that's where the comedy comes in. But it's about this tour of this manor, this giant house, and you're learning its history along with the tour as these people go through the tour. And this place is it's filled with ghosts as well. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm only about 15% in, and so far I'm really enjoying it. It's a fun romp. So far it's not my favorite by Gemma Amor, but I'm still really enjoying it. I mean, that is not really saying anything because every book of hers I've read is I've absolutely adored, and I am really enjoying this one as well. But yeah, I'm not enjoying it quite as much as her other works, which, like I said, is not really saying anything. I can't say anything more. It's good. It's really good. I highly recommend it. All right, let's get on to my Cryptid Readathon wrap up. So I actually, ding ding ding, ring those bells, man, because I stuck to my TBR. I actually read everything I said I was going to. That never happens, but it happened this time, and I can't express to you how excited I am about that, because it means good things for the future, I think, or at least I hope. So let's get on with what I read and what I thought about it. First up, I read Devolution by Max Brooks. This book was a lot of fun. It had like a weird slow beginning though. It kind of goes on like the book is told from like journal entries, mostly from a woman who was staying at this encampment. They're trying to just get away from life in like the city, and so they live far away, and they live close to this mountain, and the mountain decides to erupt while they're just kind of getting settled. So she's writing journal entries, and so it's mostly from her point of view, but you also throughout have like interviews of people who talk about what happened not only to them but to the volcano that erupted near them and kind of trapped them there. So because they were trapped there and they were cut off from society, they were stuck there for a long time, and nobody knew they were there. And what you have happening are the Bigfoot, like a clan of or a family of Bigfoot living in the mountains where the volcano erupted. They have to move, of course, because of the eruption, and now they're hungry and they're out of their regular living area. So they're lost and they're hungry, and they decide to attack this encampment, and it doesn't work out well. Let's just say that. So as I was saying in the beginning of this rambling episode, that it starts off oddly weird. So like I said, they're just getting there, and the journal entries are filled with how beautiful the mountainside is, or at least the mountains and the forests, and it goes into quite some detail as to just how beautiful it is. And I don't mind that, but it just went on, and I was like, is this all there is? It's like, oh, this is so beautiful, everything's look at that flower, look at all these trees and the mountain, oh, it's all so beautiful. And then like her face gets ripped off or something. Well, it's almost that way, but not quite. Of course, once you get past that, it picks up, and once the volcano erupts, everything changes. It turns into survival mode, and I really enjoyed it. Honestly, it was really, really good. I'm gonna say it probably about every book I talk about here. I can't recommend it enough. It's a lot of fun, so you should definitely check that out if you have not read Devolution by Max Brooks yet. It's very, very well done. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next. Also, I read The Jersey Devil by Hunter Shea, and this one started off really weird for me as well. I almost didn't finish it. See, I almost didn't stick to the TBR, but I ultimately I did. The Jersey Devil, it's a short book. I mean, it's only like 200 pages, I think, somewhere in that vicinity, 160 pages. And it starts off with a really big cast. And I couldn't really... I was like, who's this person again? Why should I care about them? And I almost gave up. But I noticed that there is an audiobook of this is basically the book turned into what they call an audio, not an audio book, like a graphic audio, I think is what they call it. And it's got a full cast, so every character has their own actor playing them, and there's somebody who reads the narrative parts in between. And I noticed that they do cut a little bit of the narrative, because when I switched, I kind of started early from where I switched. So let's just say I was on chapter 10, I went back to like chapter 7, and I noticed some of the words were missing, but overall it's pretty much the entire book. It's, I would say, 90% to 95% unabridged. So I'm really glad that I switched over to this, because it made remembering who the characters were much more easier, and it turns into quite the action film. I wouldn't say it's very much horror, although there is a lot of gore, but it reminded me more of the movie Predator, which is a horror classic, but if you think about it, it's not really a horror movie, it's more of an action movie. And that's what this book is. And you have the Jersey Devil, you have a lot more than just one of these Jersey Devils attacking people and tearing them to shreds, doing terrible things with these bodies, and like decapitating a lot of people get decapitated. There's one funny part where they're being swarmed, this family, and our main characters are being swarmed by these creatures, and one of them gets their throat slit, and they're being carried off by the Jersey Devil, and the sound effect for that was just crazy, because all you hear is as they're dragged away. It's like you just hear them choking on their own blood, and I was kind of disturbed by that, to be honest with you. So well done. So if you find yourself reading this book and you're having trouble with the characters, I highly recommend switching to the Audible audiographic version, the basic radio play of it. It's a lot of fun, and once the action starts, man, it just doesn't stop. Again, it's just, this book is insane. This book, if it was made in the 80s as an action horror film, it would have done very well. I think it would have blown everyone's socks off, because where Hunter Shea takes you, it's just like I said, it's nonstop. The adrenaline is flowing all the time while you're reading it. You want to be like, fuck yeah, throughout the whole thing. It's a lot of fun. I can't recommend it enough. See, there it is again. All right, I also read The Reyes Incident by Brianna Morgan. Now, this book was also a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting this book to be quite as gory as it was. My God. It's about a group of friends who get stuck in this bunker where it's like underwater, basically. And inside this bunker with them are these killer mermaids, and they are not friendly whatsoever. There's they do nasty things to you. They tear you up, man. They tear you up bad. And like I was just saying, I wasn't expecting this book to get as gory as it was. It too was a lot of fun, and it's very short. It's like 120 pages, 150 pages, and it is a lot of fun. It's also told in a kind of unconventional, I don't want to say epistolatory way, but it is very different, and the writing of it's very interesting. So the basic premise is this woman is found after she'd been missing with her friends for some time, and she's like covered in blood. And so the questioning starts, like, where's your friends? What happened to your friends? And she goes into her story as to what happened to her, and she takes you through her dark journey and how she survived. And it's quite fascinating. I am quite impressed. I can't recommend this book enough. Check out The Reyes Incident by Brianna Morgan, and I'm looking forward to reading more from Brianna Morgan. And lastly, I read High on Bigfoot by Armand Rosamilia. Now this book was a lot of fun as well. The whole Bigfoot being high on something has been kind of a trend. You have I forget the names of them, like Crackfoot or something like that. Where Bigfoot gets a bunch of crack cocaine, and there's like crank I can't remember their titles, but some of the people have been reading these types of books for the Cryptid Readathon, and I read this one. Now, the funny thing is the people, from what I've seen anyway, who read like Crankfoot or whatever, they didn't really enjoy it. There's like a lot of sex and little violence, and I don't think I'd like that either. I'm glad I didn't read those books for that reason. You have to go watch their videos to see. I'll put the, if I remember, I'll put the I have them posted in the playlist. I'll put it right there if I remember. But this one doesn't have like all the crazy sex in it, and it does deliver in the violence, but you got to push through the first, I would say, 3/4. It's another very short book. It's like 120 to 150 pages somewhere, and the most important thing is this book is fun even when Bigfoot isn't in it. So we have two friends who decide to go to this mountainside grow operation, a marijuana grow operation. They want to make money, of course, but the one of them is under the impression that he'll get high, even though his friend says that, that's not going to happen. You have to work. When he gets there, he realizes just how wrong he was, and all he wants to do really is get high. He's like a chronic, weed smoker. He just loves it, and he has some out in his van, but the van's parked far away. Anyways, what he finds when he gets there is that this place is very militant, and it expects you to work hard, very hard, and you will make your money. But they find themselves, because they're new, or at least the one guy is new, on latrine duty a lot, which is like cleaning out the toilets, basically. It's not regular toilets. The way I envisioned it is, if you've seen the movie Platoon, it's sort of like that, where they're outhouses, but you step up onto a wooden platform and you go to the bathroom at the top, and you do your business into these big bins, metal bins, and you kind of have to drag them out and clean them out, and that's latrine duty. That's what they're on for a big part of this, and they get stuck there because the bosses don't really like these kids. But really, it's sort of like an initiation into the place. So, of course, being the new kid and his friend, who is like, it's his second year, he's not the new kid anymore, but he sort of found himself being bumped back into being a new kid, if that makes any sense. They're sent up to the mountain when two kids go missing. Now, it's rumored in this area that there's this monster living in the cave up in the mountain, and when two of the people who are working there go missing, of course, these two kids, along with a group of other people, are sent to go searching for them, and their search leads to the cave in the mountain where the monster is, and they find out exactly what's in that cave, and it's not friendly. When they enter the cave, it really pisses off the creature, and it decides to follow them back into camp, and where it wreaks havoc. And I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it any more than I already have. It's a lot of fun, this book. You know what, the one common thing about all these books had was that they all follow a similar sort of war theme. Even Devolution by Hunter Shea. Devolution had a very huge battle at the end, and it reminded me more of a war film than of a horror story. This book, High on Bigfoot, had a similar feel to it, except it's more, hands-on, so to speak, pun intended. So I highly recommend this one as well. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's even fun when we're not following, or when Bigfoot isn't in it. It's still fun. So there we are. I rambled on long enough, I think. Thank you for coming along and watching this with me. And if you've made it this far, leave me some Bigfoot track marks down there in the darkness. All you have to do is type in Bigfoot into the emoji search bar, and you'll find the Bigfoot track marks I'm talking about. And if you can't find that, then just leave me a pile of books down there. Thank you for watching. Keep being weird, my friends, and keep being creative, and I'll catch you guys in the next bookish video.